doing so far. It's hard. It's doing desert. We get 3 and 2. Because I had that 2 degrees. And it just happens to be there, you know. Oh, yeah.
Carrie's coming. Mike? I think so. I know Carrie is.
Yeah. They only 3 years ago. They do state fairs. That was state fair.
I'd like to call to order the City Council meeting January 2nd, 2025, 501 Main Street, 5:30 PM. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have a roll call?
Here.
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 Here. Here. Here.
You missed me, but I'm here too.
One vacant. Okay, item number 4, mayor's correspondence. I have a letter here from the Keokuk Union Depot Foundation. It says, "Dear Depot supporters and enthusiasts, as the new year begins, I'm reflecting on this past year's accomplishments in restoring the Depot's waiting room interior. I couldn't stop smiling when I encountered the 2-year-old birthday party at the Depot shortly after Thanksgiving, seeing the children comfortably playing with their toys on the newly installed marble and tile floor warmed by the radiant heat below. In 2024, restoration began on January 2nd when crews started removing the floor that had covered up what was left of the original marble and the tile flooring. After 10 months of work on every surface of the waiting room and much behind the surface, the restoration achieved a glorious result. Kudos to the contractors working on the project, whose commitment and expertise enabled the Depot to shine brightly on November 9th when the restored 1891 waiting room interior was officially presented to the public for the first time. Special recognition must be given to dedication of Neil Vogel, principal of the Historic Enterprises LLC, whose many hats included both historic preservation consultant and construction manager. Thank you for the support and patience during the 2024 restoration phase. The Depot enters 2025 in an active use as a modern community event center while highlighting the Depot's significance of history and architectural style. I am wishing you a happy New Year and very thankful, Janet Smith, on behalf of the Union Depot Foundation. On Saturday, January 4th, if you are up and about for breakfast. If you would like to be involved or get involved with the Great River Players, they're having a breakfast of desperation at 9 a.m. at Chintz's Bar and Grill, hoping people will come and join. And the library will be having Paint Your Dragon, and then Dragons and Dungeons will be having their usual time at the library. Keokuk Girls Wrestling Tournament at Wright Field House, and yes, I have a granddaughter that wrestles, so, and it's an all-girls tournament. So that's interesting. And then a vendor event at the Keokuk Mall from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. That sounds great too, to know that that mall store's open for this vendor event. And as always, eat, drink, and shop local. Kindness matters. Item number 5 is citizens' request. If we have anybody that is here that wants to come forward and speak on behalf of any thing they need to talk about, or any problem they have, or any praise they have, you're to come forward, state your name and your address, and please, whatever you do, only take about 3 minutes. Is there anybody here for citizens' request? Okay, moving on. Item number 6, consent agenda. Minutes of the regular city council meeting and workshop of December 19th, 2024. Resolution approving a liquor license for the Columbian Room of Keokuk, 11 North 6th Street, Class C retail alcohol license, effective January 20th, 2025, pending DRAM. Motion to pay the bills and transfers listed in Register's office, registers numbers 5447 through 5449. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda, including the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item number 7, consider resolution designating depositories for the city's money and city funds not to exceed the sums indicated per financial institution. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have any discussion? A resolution to set depository institutions for the City of Keokuk funds for the calendar year of 2025. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item number 8, consider resolution designating the Daily Gate City as a newspaper of general circulation for publication of official notices. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
A resolution designating the Daily Gate City as a newspaper for official publications of City of Keokuk. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item number 9, consider resolution making the safety deposit box rented in the name of the City of Keokuk accessible to the mayor and city clerk. Do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion?
Okay. I guess I wouldn't be opposed to that. I don't think we've ever had that issue in the past, but
Isn't Mike like the mayor pro term and you're the backup, so it would probably make sense for you to do it, if that's okay with you?
yeah.
So we'll need to amend that then?
Make a motion to amend to have it accessible to the mayor, city clerk, and mayor pro tem.
Any more discussion?
We need a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item number 10, consider resolution to assume Southeast Iowa Developmental Center loan from the Keokuk Economic Development Corporation. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
City staff are proposing the city take over the loan from Keokuk Economic Development Corporation, KEDC, and dissolve the current memorandum of understanding, the MOU, between the city and KEDC. The current principal balance is $281,255.76. The city would then receive 100%, $120,000 per year of the rent money. Staff has met with the Finance Committee twice, and they are in agreement for the city to take over the loan. As of December 16th, 2024, the payoff amount is $281,915.30, and the daily interest is $47.11. I would therefore recommend that the council consider the attached resolution assuming the loan from KEDC and dissolving the current MOU. Any more discussion?
Yes. I have some questions. You can probably answer this one. What is the current length of lease from Roquette?
5.
I
They're
thought
about
4, but I couldn't find my paper.
They're about 6 months into it, I believe.
So it's 4.5 remaining.
Guys, you'll need to speak up.
Okay.
Can't hear you down here.
Okay. If our expenses on the property, as he told us last council meeting at the workshop, average around $150,000 a year, and our current income is from the rent is $60,000, from what part of the budget has the city been picking up and paying the deficit on maintenance?
It comes from TIF funds
TIF funds,
currently.
and that's a legitimate way to spend them?
According to our, is it Allers and Cooney, I think, is who handles our TIF, our TIF funding? Is it handled by Allers and Cooney?
Ehlers and Cooney. Ehlers and Cooney.
So according to them, that is within our
Acceptable?
acceptable to use TIF funds on that building.
Okay, what has been the current amount that the city has allotted to KEDC? It seemed if it ran in my mind that you put in a budget line item to them of $50,000 a year. Is that correct?
That is what the council has allotted through hotel motel tax.
Oh, from hotel motel tax. Okay.
I think
Okay.
we shifted that to TIF though, didn't we?
I think last year you might have, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was coming to, as well as the maintenance funds?
Yeah, the 50,000 to KEDC. Yes.
Okay.
60,000? 60,000.
50, the 10,000 was from the water.
Okay, has the, since Carrie's here, has the rent allotment that you've been receiving been the sole source of your payment against the loan?
Yes.
So it's been averaging $3,200 a month?
That's what
Is that what it
it's
is?
32
It's what
and
it
some
calls
change.
for in the document.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah, that's the debt service.
It's $3,224.91 is the monthly
Yeah.
payment.
doggone it. Got my paper clips here. Okay, you've paid on it 1 year, correct? January through December.
No. We started paying on it
August?
in, in August. We,
Of this year?
yes.
The past year.
2024. So basically, I'm trying to speak loud. So we had a period of time where we didn't have to make any payments on the loan. And once the project was finished, then we had about a month or two, and then we had to start paying on it. So we've been paying since August,
Only since August.
yes.
And it says that the principal is down from 350,000.
No, it was never 350, it was under 300.
I think we gave you the approval to go up to
Up to
350
350.
because we were still in the bid process, and then the project ended up costing less, so we didn't have to take out the loan for the full amount. We just took the loan out for how much it cost for the
Yeah,
construction.
I think when we were coming to you to get approval, because you folks act, obviously back to KDC when we applied for the loan, we didn't know what it was gonna cost. We had an original estimate of like $350,000. We went out, got bids, and the winning bid was just under 300. And I think it came in pretty close to that. So it's like 298.
That's
So
what
that's
I-
what we got.
yeah. That's what I remember too.
Well, the documents that we were given copies of say 350,000. That's the reason my math didn't add up to what the calculated math that we were given.
It was never 350.
So it also says that the loan is for 64 months, and the maturity date is April 1 of 29. It says in the paperwork that we were provided that it was a 7-year loan.
But it is a 7-year loan.
Then why do we not have a corrected set of documents reading 7 years and the correct loan amount?
It's a 7-year loan.
Okay, how do we correct that so that if a bank sells out or somebody else comes in, if the document says 350,000 and it's due?
All of the banks have assumed the loan. So, well, I shouldn't say all. Connection Bank, Two Rivers, and Pilot Grove are jointly loaning KDC that money. So if one bank leaves, which I don't see that happening, but if one bank left, there's still two. And nothing will change. Gordon, I can't tell you why the documents you have are incorrect, but it's a 7-year loan.
Well, these are the loan documents Barb sent me.
And they all say 350,000
Well,
due
they say
April
up to.
1st of 29.
I don't know about the date, but can I ask a question? If you opened a line of was it a line of credit? Because a line of credit
Originally.
has a maximum amount. So if
Yeah.
you told Barb that you were gonna need up to 350, then she set your line of credit at 350. That doesn't mean you're gonna use all of it, but that means you have that much to spend and you can't go over. So that could be why your document says 350. Yeah.
Sorry, because you didn't have an actual amount, just anytime you do that, they give you a cap. And that sounds, I think that's what I was thinking. And that's why the cap says 350 and we're,
And
right.
that's why we didn't make any payments, because it was a line of credit until it transferred to a loan.
Okay, so
Right.
that answers the question on why it has that amount.
Yes. So the paperwork that you have is the line of credit paperwork and not the final loan paperwork. I don't know why you have that.
It's all in here. It's got connections paperwork, Two Rivers paperwork,
And they all say so the same
and
thing.
it's got State Central Bank.
I make a motion that we table this until the paperwork reads appropriately.
I don't know that you're gonna get new paperwork from the bank. This is what they sent me. It has your signature on it, and each different bank has their loan officer signature on it.
There's a big difference between 7 years and 4 years and 3 months.
Even though the 120,000 a year is more than gonna pay it off in 4 years. If it was 4 years, but it's not.
But that $120,000 is already going to the expenses for the building, and we're still 30,000 short on maintenance fees and costs
Tips paying for the expenses, right, Brian?
Currently,
at this point.
And by,
But should there be a change in leases, we would be on the hook because we're counting on that 120,000. I don't know if I'm making myself clear, but I don't see this as a positive.
I mean, we're listed on the loan anyways, the city is. We're the co-signer.
Okay, well, let's not get there until we have to.
So, the reason we're bringing this is because KEDC and LCED are merging. And then KEDC is gonna start going down to quarterly meetings. And they're really not gonna have anything to do with management of this building anymore. So if we assume the loan, then we get to take 100% of the rent monies. If we were to lease this out to another entity tomorrow, KEDC still gets 50% of that lease money.
Can you remind us, if we're gonna have a loss of 30,000 with 100% of a profit, can you remind us with our current contract of only receiving 50%, aren't we in the hole right now, like 90,000?
Yeah,
Okay, so we're looking at getting a bump of 60,000 per year
right.
and getting a little bit closer to having no loss.
Well, that language is all the way accurate. It's not a bump up because that money was going straight into the note, right? There was a fee that you guys were charging. It was just straight, you were collecting the funds from us and then applying it to the note.
we were collecting 100% and then writing the city back a check for 50, and then we were taking whatever last was left, and we were putting it towards the loan.
Back to the loan.
Yes.
So the other 50% was going back to the city to take care of operating expenses.
Yes.
Yeah, so there isn't a profit or anything of that nature.
All right, Carrie, can you clarify and maybe come up to the microphone here just so that we make sure we've got it on record? You stated that it started as a line of credit, and that line of credit is what the city was the co-signer
Yes.
on, and that was up to 350.
Yes.
You completed your project. It came in, rough estimate,
298.
298. And then at that point in time, you closed the line of credit and changed it to a traditional loan.
Yes, it converted to a traditional loan.
Okay, so I am going to second Dorothy's motion to table this until we get correct bank documents. I just double checked through them, and we do not have anything about the line of credit being closed and converted to a traditional loan.
Thank you.
All we have is the line of credit. And so I'm going to second Dorothy's notion so that we can get the correct documents in front of us for this.
I would like to make a point if I could. If we were collecting 100% of the rent and putting all those monies to paying off the loan, that would take about 28 months. I don't see that as happening. At best, we'll be taking maybe that additional 60 grand and putting just that towards the loan, making it about a 56-month payoff. By that point, there's no guarantee that Roquette will even still be there. So I'm not seeing a very good silver lining in taking over this loan. Now, we did co-sign for it. So if the KEDC was to completely dissolve, then the city would receive it anyway. But since the KEDC is not totally dissolving yet, I would suggest that we revisit this in maybe a year or so, see what the principal of the loan looks like, let KEDC still collect their half of the rent, pay off the loan as they see fit, and then revisit this subject maybe in a year's time and see if it would be advantageous for the city to take over the loan. And then maybe by then we could have a strategy for paying back this loan, which we don't have now. I don't see any set strategy that we would use to pay back the loan. And I don't feel comfortable about voting for this without, a set laid out plan that makes sense for everybody to get the loan paid off.
We've discussed several strategies. It's just that we haven't ironed anything down yet, but we have discussed several strategies. But I do agree that we probably need more time to iron some stuff, but we have been discussing strategies.
If I could just add one other thing. part of the reason that KDC and Fort Madison Economic Development are all going to merge in with Lee County Economic Developments to make the economic development machine stronger. The other thing that Lee County Economic Development is really going to work on doing, and you'll hear this later when Emily gets up and talks, but we are charging Lee County Economic Development with putting renters in that building. So I understand Roquette leaves in 4.5 years, whatever, they're gone. They're out of office space. I've been told that they probably won't leave there for longer than, they're going to be there longer than 5 years, but I can't guarantee that. But the point that I did want to make is that Lee County Economic Development is going to be working every day at putting tenants in that building. So I don't want to worry. Roquette's a huge part of our rent. You know, the old saying, you don't put all your eggs in one basket. I don't want to depend on Roquette to make this building a viable marketing property when it comes time that the city wants to get rid of it. That is what Lee County Economic Development is going to be working towards doing. So, yeah, I understand your questions about Roquette, but I want to say, let's take a Roquette out of the equation and look and see what we can make that property in the next few years.
And I will add, I am in favor of the city taking this over so that we can have a hands-on approach. We can, have some oversight over if Lee County Economic Development Group's going to be doing the marketing and trying to get tenants in there. And then we can also be flexible in how that loan is paid off. And if we get more tenants and the rent goes up, we can funnel it against the note quicker if that's what we so choose in that scenario. But I would just caution, without having accurate bank documentation in front of us of approving something that we can't verify at this moment. So in the long term, I will be voting to do this in favor, but I would like the proper bank documentation. And perhaps maybe if the banks don't have it, someone from the bank can come here and just clarify, because we've had a couple of different stories about
want it
what's
in black and
transpired,
white.
and let's get the set document with the set story, and that way we can all vote in confidence on what we have.
Well, I have one last statement. At our previous meeting, we had a report about a 30-year-old aerial fire truck, and it's been requested to be replaced at various points in budget systems. Has not happened. I feel putting our monies towards something that will work toward the safety of our constituents and our employees far outweighs the need to put this loan a priority. Thank you.
Any more discussion? So we have on the table a request to table this. We have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion does not pass. It's tabled. Item number 12, do we have any council liaison reports? Oh, wait a minute, I got to do number 11. Consider resolution approving officer training reimbursement agreement. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
The hiring of Bruce Billings Jr. as a police officer will require a payment of $12,940.91 to the city of West Burlington as a reimbursement for training expenses that were incurred by that city. This is a 2-year agreement that we will require Billings to pay back 100% of the cost to the city of Keokuk if he separates from employment before completing 12 months of service. He will be required to pay back 50% of this cost if he separates employment after 12 months of service, but before 24 months of service. Bruce Billings is currently certified through the Iowa Law Enforcement Academy. The cost of hiring a new officer and putting them through the academy, tuition, salary, and etc., is approximately $30,000. This agreement will save the city approximately $17,000 of training costs and over 6 months of academy and field training time. The cost will be taken out of the line item budgeted for academy tuition. Do I have any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Back to item number 12, council liaison reports. Anybody? Okay, then we'll move on. Item number 13, staff reports. Boy, you guys are being nice tonight. Item number 14, I have a motion to enter into closed session pursuant of the Iowa Code, Chapter 21.5, to evaluate the professional competency of an individual whose appointment, hiring, performance, or discharge is being considered, and when necessary, to prevent needless and irreparable injury to the individual's reputation, and the individual requests closed session. Do I have a motion to enter into closed session? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? We will return in just a few minutes, guys.
He did. He was like, I'm so sorry to come back to you. We get one
The only two times we done that was Karen and Joel last time, and the time before that. On short notice. I didn't want to cancel it because 5, 6 months out in advance of paying, they all lost out on mission. If they, you know, you want to wait for water back out, or by going to bars and the. You know, it's for the musician, so I didn't really have it. And luckily, they all pitched in. A lot of them definitely do. We have to do it. Sell her to here and to there. So it worked out.
We were bummed.
I just talked with Eric.
Yeah, we would do it again.
Yeah, and I got this thing. What's happening right here? Let me know 5 years that you want Iowa State on the fairs, and they want to do the pavilion and the back. I've got a few bases. Just to go out and support them. So I know there's more to that. Yeah. Yeah, and they go out.
So we're gonna post excited about this year.
A good time. We got one yesterday. 6, 7 weeks. Planned it, and they all, you can't rely on the weather. I don't know what it is.
Right, just as our,
I like to see this. He's got some.
it's my favorite,
Last year. This year, I've been to that hammock sale, and like to that place for 7 years or 5 years. And we'll get fans constantly. They have been starting last year, so I'm bringing away from the hammock sale band repeaters year after year. Now, every other year, I'm getting the same band back in. There's some around, because I've got 2 now. I was out of the ashes and, first made them, no, I got 2 years. They're actually a Hannibal. I got Skunk Hill, which is, the band that's heard.
We can work on some.
That's right.
I like that.
No, they actually, I think it's classic. Classic rock, yeah, it's a 3-piece battery. That doesn't do it. Yes. I'm always like new bands that I do, a lot of bands like to take off.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Support it, and then back down, the thing is, like I said, it's once every year. It's not. That's, no joke. I'm sure. Yeah, well, that was shy, the shy culture. And they actually were speaking here. And I had told several people that. I think it's great. That's the only thing I had with Brian is the first year they moved their date 3 times because of like his work. Yeah. Brian, I really have. And he had double, they had double books every time. 2 bands that had committed me, and then committed to him, and then he meets the date 3 times, because I got all the text, hey. And they ended up going on the same night with the kids. I wasn't happy about that.
You know what, that was the headline.
It's not a celebration.
So we did, you know, the thing, we were close by.
And if you want to,
So I take the beans and candy back out, and I slide her next to I pulled them. Back out. I have to pull out that UTV. Yeah. And like this year, I had to like do it. She's with Heather. Yeah. Heather found me. Yeah, I want them out there again because they are big girls. Heather had money. So I like morning. I like to get her with
6. And it's like,
and I did not freak out. That was great. I did not get to that. I was like, this is St. Louis. I was getting people. I've told everybody 7 nights. If you want to go over, we can go over 10.
it's amazing, I know it's
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I've never done anything. I've never approached, because I know Dennis out here real well, and Dennis comes from a long line of, that's how Dennis out here. Just out of respect.
You don't ask.
I don't, that's so I've never went after Dennis out on any, and that's Blue Zillion, steady out, big guitars. Big guitars with cheese.
you know, once or twice a month.
David Osmond, yeah, that's stump him, so he does all this stuff.
I'm just gonna
I
say.
mean, I could have 5 of these.
I might
Actually, say the fire
right
like
now.
that is
And I'm gonna watch TV and sit on the couch.
I'm just gonna chill. He plays with everybody. So Dennis is one, so I've never really done anything. Dennis.
What do you do? Whatever I.
I've usually like it for other
And then after that, she might have a coffee. Her club. You have a coach.
She does have to take.
Oh my God.
My mom used to.
Yeah, so sorry. I'm sorry. I always have to meditate. I have no. Like you wouldn't miss it.
How you doing?
says Las Vegas, police, it says.
Well, you know what? There is a safety feature. I guess
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We're outgoing.
Yeah, so they were.
So it's like.
And we got that.
And the mother was supposed to. One time was supposed to be. Okay, here we go. Me too.
You're right, taking notes and reading.
That's okay. I figured it out. Did you catch that?
I was like, wow.
Okay, I need a motion to go back into regular session.
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item number 15, new business. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot you two.
Trying to rush to get out of here.
Now I got to do all that again. I didn't even pay attention. Sorry, Roger. Sorry, Dorothy. I'm trying to, move things along. Okay, I got to do that again. I need a motion to, well, no, I just have a first and a second. That's fine. Motion to move back into regular session. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion now passes. Okay. Item number 15 is new business. Anybody out there? All right. Item number 16 is, I need a motion to approve to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. We will take 1 minute, guys, because I know you guys have been waiting for us. So we're going to take 1 minute unless nobody thinks they need one. We got up and moved around. Is that all right, guys? Do we need it? Do we need that 1 minute? Anybody? Nobody's paying any attention to me as always. Okay, so if we don't need that 1 minute, everybody out there said no. I will call the council workshop January 2nd, 2025, immediately following the regular meeting to order. We have 3 items on the agenda. The first one is Lee County Economic Development Commission presentation of their 5-year plan, and that is you, Emily. Come forward.
You guys have our plan in front of you. I'm happy to put it up on the projector if anybody out here would like to see it, but I'll just speak directly to the council. We would appreciate you guys considering funding KEDC at the same level that they have been funded, considering that $50,000 of those funds will pass through to LCEDG as we have integrated the three groups into one. So starting January 1st or January 2nd, as it were. Tim Gobble from the Fort Madison Partners is now in our office. He is a Lee County Economic Development employee and is focusing on economic development, specifically real estate and commercial development also. So our 5-year plan, we are a public-private partnership and public-private entity. So part of our funding comes from the Board of Supervisors and the 2 cities. The rest of our funding, we go out and we fundraise, or we have a capital campaign where we aim to raise $2 million over the next 5 years to fund our operations. We know that in Lee County, we have seen population decline over the last 25 to 30 years. We need population stabilization and hopefully population growth. It's going to increase everybody's tax base. People, business, and quality of life are really the 3 pillars that we're focusing on in our strategic plan. Those things are all intricately connected. So as we were putting together the prospectus for our 5-year plan, that's what rose to the top really quickly, was connecting Lee County. So connecting the cities, connecting those 3 things that all tie into one another. So we're going to be focusing really heavily on workforce development and on how we continue to build a strong workforce, attract top talent, so that as our industries and as our local employers grow, they're able to find, attract, recruit, and retain the employees that they need to be successful in their businesses. We've had great success as we've focused on talent attraction and working directly with county employers so that when they are recruiting someone, we bring them in, we take them on a community tour. We usually engage with Main Street here in Keokuk for that, the Fort Madison Chamber in Fort Madison, so that we can tailor those tours to a specific community. But we are finding more and more success as we focus on selling ourselves as a region rather than just the individual cities. We have so much to offer, especially in the areas of recreation, when we consider what's outside of just the borders of any one city. Also, entrepreneurial ecosystems. You'll notice in that 5-year plan, that is one of our focus areas as well. We know that a lot of the things that people want to do.
Yeah, we didn't get the 5-year plan.
You didn't? I have at least one.
Nope. I would remember that.
I apologize. I have one copy of it because I thought that you guys had it in front of you. Would it be helpful for me to project somewhere?
I can go copy.
Sure. Thank you. That would be helpful. Sorry, Dorothy. But I was discussing the entrepreneurial ecosystem, so I will answer any questions that you guys have. What's in the 5-year plan are really the high-level strategies or the high-level focus areas that we're going to focus on, and then the measurements. So how will we know if we're successful? Any plan, you have to have measurements if you're going to determine whether or not you're successful. These are the things that I'll be reporting to my board of directors on. These are also the things that I'll be coming to your city council meetings at least twice a year to give you guys an update on where we are with these things, so that you know that we're being successful in the promises that we've made to the Keokuk City Council as well. So the entrepreneurial ecosystems, a lot of the things that people want to do in a community are best served by small businesses. So we need to really create an ecosystem where entrepreneurs can thrive. Dan was at one of our recent entrepreneurial workshops. We know that when you start your own business, it can be a little bit of a lost, lonely island out there. So we want to create a really strong network of local entrepreneurs. And then the Career Advantage Center, that has been a focus area of LCEDG for the last 7 years. We have handed that off to its own 501c3 board so that our organization can focus on workforce development more holistically. So not just with high school age students, but across the board. The second focus area is businesses. We need to have strong local businesses. We also need to be attracting new businesses and new industries and advocating for policies that make Lee County especially attractive to those new businesses. So our organization leads a couple of advocacy trips every year. We go to the state capitol, we go to the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and we take our issues and actionable items straight to our legislators and ask for the things that we know can make a difference here in Lee County. We also are a point of connection for these local businesses. A lot of times if they are running into something legislatively or a problem that they're having a hard time managing, we can connect them with the right people at state agencies to help out with that. new industry growth is focused on in here, as well as business retention and expansion. We know that a lot of our growth as a region will come from the businesses that are already here. We have to continue to engage with them to focus on how we can help them be successful, how we can help them grow, and so that we have advanced warning. No matter what we do, if we do everything perfect, we will lose employers. It happens. Independent Can in Fort Madison is a great example of that. It was only about 35 jobs, but the local or the corporate leaders had made the decision that they wanted to consolidate operations and they were going to take that production elsewhere. Since we were so intimately engaged with their business folks, their business management team, we had about an 8-month runway on the fact that that was going to happen. And so it's allowed us to engage a broker and look at how we can get a new owner, new business operator into that business faster. But they had, they had made their decision to leave the area. And so we had to be respectful of that and to focus on what we could do next. So business retention and expansion is critical to our mission in the next 5 years. So is targeted industry attraction. So a lot of times with rural economic development, I compare it to the old push, pull, or drag sale. If you can push it here, if you can pull it here, if you can drag it here, we'll give you $400 for it. We tend to look at economic development in rural areas in the same way. Whatever it is, we want it here if it's jobs. We want to be really intentional about what we're targeting, how they fit into the ecosystem that's already here, the business ecosystem, and how they can also contribute to the community development ecosystem and be great corporate citizens. So we want to focus on targeted business growth and business attraction. And then the final focus area is quality of life. We know that people want to move to communities where they see themselves. Tourism is a great driver for that. So bringing people in, they have to see a community before they want to live here. We want to support community-driven quality of life initiatives that can continue to make our area seen as a vibrant, welcoming community. And we need to address some housing needs in order to do that. So that's a part of our quality of life initiative. So Keokuk has done the Keokuk Neighborhood Initiative, Keokuk Housing Study. We're going to continue to work on the findings from that study and how we can support the needs of the Keokuk community in housing. We're also going to do a county-wide housing study so that as we're looking to attract developers from outside of Lee County, we can have a larger picture for them to look at so they can do larger developments that will be more cost-effective. I'm sorry that you don't have the 5-year plan, but that's a really high-level kind of synopsis of it. Do you guys have questions for me?
If you could share with us the current staffing, who's in what positions, because I know there's been a lot of change over the last couple of years out there at Lee County Economic Development Group. And then over this 5-year plan, what positions could potentially be created or opened within your organization?
Yes. So Dennis Frazee was the president and CEO at Lee County Economic Development for 11 years. He retired in November and I stepped into his role. I've been with LCEDG for about 2.5 years now. So I came into this role understanding that I would be taking his role at some point in time. That allowed us the opportunity to take a look at our staffing structure and do a little bit of restructuring. And so while economic development used to mean just chasing smokestacks and new industrial opportunities, now we're focused on many things, and it's hard to be an expert in many things. So myself, I'm focusing on our business retention and expansion efforts, as well as our advocacy efforts, government and community relations efforts. Tim Gobble, who was previously with the Fort Madison Partners, actually, we laugh a little bit that he's a boomerang because he started with LCEDG, went to Fort Madison Economic Development, and now is back at LCEDG. He is focusing on real estate development and also some of our financial aspects right now as we're deep in our capital campaign. We have a office administrator who is also a recent hire. She's from here in Keokuk and started in October, but started full-time in December when she graduated from college. And then we are bringing on a workforce development and communities specialist. And that is the person that will have some specific responsibilities in Keokuk, specifically with the Southeast Iowa Development Center and how we look at filling and getting more tenants in that building.
Your mind is not.
They are not. So we work with, Not on our staff, but we do work with brokers.
Okay. Yeah, all right. So what we could talk some more about this.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to add is that I will be president of Lee County Economic Development when?
July 1st.
July 1st. And there are, Dave Bogner is on Lee County Economic Development's board. Jenny Rose is on Lee County Economic Development's board.
Corey Jonas.
Corey Jonas from Scyther and Sherry.
Amsterdam.
Oh, Amstead, we've got somebody from
Corby Hawkins.
Corby Hawkins from Scyther and Sherry. There's all of I'd almost say all of the major industry, the fertilizer plant, Carl Nelson has, and if you look around the table at who's on the board, all of those companies are working throughout Lee County and Keokuk, Iowa. So everybody has an interest in making Lee County a viable area in the state of Iowa.
Yeah, I just know that from different conversations we've had is there will definitely be a goal to have some deliverables from this relationship rather than just the advocacy or the education approach you guys are talking about, given the fact that we have so much square foot of space we need to lease out. So,
Yes, absolutely.
and I think that's the conversation. Well, how would that yield into identifying potential tenants for the building?
Absolutely.
And that's one reason why KDC is not going away entirely. We are going to meet quarterly. We're going to be monitoring what's going on with Lee County Economic Development and within the city of Keokuk. We still have a little bit of farm ground we get money off of at Kindustry Park. So, we have KEDC is not going away. We're just kind of going to slide under the auspices of Lee County Economic Development.
So I have already asked this question, and I'm looking at the page that has the board members listed on it. If we agreed, if the city of Keokuk would decide to give 50,000 and the city of Fort Madison would decide to give 50,000, I see that we aren't being represented on the board. There would not be a board member from Keokuk and a board member from Fort Madison?
You mean the city?
Yes, from the city.
There never has been. We have always had the sitting president of KEDC and FMEDC on the board.
And I understand that, but we also are merging.
Mhm.
And sooner or later, KEDC will go away, so the money will come straight from the city of Keokuk. It won't go through KEDC anymore, and so I'm wondering why there isn't any representation that way.
I think I'm definitely open to considering that. Since KEDC and FMEDC are both going dormant for the time being, we would like to keep the board structure the same since it's in place and since we do have the sitting presidents of KEDC and FMEDC. But going forward, if they're going to dissolve and go away and the funding will come directly from the city, I think it makes all the sense in the world to consider changing that. It's in our bylaws that we have the sitting president of KEDC and FMEDC. Obviously, if those entities no longer exist, we can just easily slide in a representative from the Keokuk City Council and the Fort Madison City Council.
So has Fort Madison already not in existence anymore? Fort Madison?
They're also going dormant. So they have assets to manage. They have gone dormant and they are not meeting anymore. They're going to meet on an as-needed basis. So,
Okay.
for example, if there's a project that comes online and they want to do some incentives, then that board will call a meeting and we'll meet.
Okay. Any other questions, guys?
Going back to the staff question that I asked, you had mentioned a fourth position focusing on workforce development. Is that position already filled or that's a position to be filled?
It is to be filled. So we are actually partnering with the Greater Burlington Partnership as well. They have a workforce development specialist who's been in her position for over 2 years. She has capacity to do more. And so instead of us doing programming and them doing programming that's similar, but kind of competing with one another, she's going to oversee some of the workforce programs in Lee County. So they will still happen in Lee County, they'll still happen in Keokuk, and they'll still happen in Fort Madison. But we're going to take more of a regional approach so that we have a best practices approach. So she starts with me tomorrow, and her first objective is to hire the person who's going to be the workforce and community specialist and representative for Keokuk.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
Any more questions? Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. You're probably tired of telling this story.
It's a good story. It's an easy story to tell, I think.
I don't get tired of hearing.
You guys should all be glad that we're not using carbon paper and a typewriter anymore. Okay, item number 2 on the workshop is hotel motel requests. And we have a few people here that are coming forward. So let's see, is there anybody in particular that wants to go first? Let me look and see what we have on the list here. We have, well, let's just start with Keokuk Arts Center. They're first on this list, so they must have hollered first.
Hi, I'm Barb Edler. I'm the Executive Director of the Keokuk Arts Center, and I'm here to request funds to help our nonprofit function throughout the year. We try to enhance the community's lives through artistic events. We have classes each month for children, adults, and for all ages. Each month, we host an exhibit for local artists. Like tomorrow night, Joe Morgan is going to be exhibiting his photography. It's called Our Town Flying High, and it has fabulous photos of Keokuk. And his goal was to show Keokuk in a positive light. So there's all kinds of photographs from around the area, including the park and the cemetery and the river and eagles, and it's just truly amazing. So we also work to have artists in the school and try to connect students with artists. And so like recently we had the Hopper Jazz Tet visit kids at Hawthorne and at the middle school. And unfortunately, I've been in this job for 18 months and I still don't remember everything. So I am late with my letter. I'm going to hand it out, but we are asking for $7,500. Thank you.
And according to last year, they got $7,140.
Could you repeat that, please?
Oh, okay. They got $7,140 last year. They requested 7,140. They actually received 6,426. And then in 2023, 2024, they did get 1,140. Last year was the year that we had to cut 10% across the board. Okay.
I did have one quick question for you, Barb, and I'm going to ask this question to every person that comes up to the podium tonight about this. Like the mayor mentioned, we did have to make cuts out of this fund last year. There's still a lot of uncertainty about this fund moving forward. So my question that I'm going to ask everybody is, if the city is not able to honor this request, what position does that put the Art Center in? Is there a backup plan, or how would you go, you know, say we gave 50% of the request, how do you make up the other end?
Well, we have to figure out a way to raise some money. We do have a fundraiser each year that's called Festival of Trees. It was at the depot. The auction didn't really go that well, as much as, you know, we wanted to raise more money. I just sat down tonight too and kind of penciled out what just the basic costs are to run it. It's about 30,000, which we don't have 30,000 right now. It is a nonprofit, but we do try to, at once in a while, we'll have nominal charges for some of the classes just to help supply the instructor and the things. But if it was me, I would like, okay, I'm just going to try to get some grants written, or, you know, have a trivia night, or just come up with something else, you know. we're always trying to think of ways to raise money. We're not, money hungry, but we just want to be able to offer things for the community.
Thanks, Barb. Okay, we have a representative from the Rand Park Pavilion Commission.
We got a couple, but only one of us is coming up here. Madam Mayor, City Council, Rand Park Pavilion respectfully requests hotel motel funds for maintenance for the Rand Park Pavilion for the coming year. That includes mowing, lawn care, landscaping, and maintenance. It's a great looking venue. Commission works hard to bring eclectic and quality performances at the pavilion every summer. We still want to put a message board up and an access drive, which was part of the permeable paver idea several years ago. Last year, we had 7 concerts, 6 of which actually occurred, plus the Rolling on the River final, Rolling on the River. We do have a volunteer that will, hopefully the spring. We were going to do it in the fall. They were going to stain the fascia and the underside, which if you've been at the pavilion in the last couple of years, definitely needs maintenance. We do have a volunteer to do the work. We're providing the stain. We're asking for $7,000, which is lower than our request last year, but more than we received.
And what I'm looking at here that Celeste had given me, last year, the requested amount was $7,500. You were given $6,750. And the year before that, which was 23-24, you were given $7,500. This year's request is $7,000.
So I'll relay the same question to you
It'll make
then.
it very difficult. The cost of bands, it kind of depends. So far, we have 4 bands set for this year, and they're all providing their own sound. To provide sound usually adds about an extra $250 per concert, depending on the person that does it. So even though we get a band for $600, you throw $250 to the sound person on top of that. The 4 bands we have so far this year, all are doing their own sound. So I guess we're saving a little bit of money. We already do 2 fundraisers. They don't do enough to take care of the maintenance. We do calendar sales. I think last year we made right around $400 in calendar sales. And Southside did a trivia thing for us. We raised a little bit over $1,000 that day too. But like everything else, prices are going up. Our average band cost is maybe $600, probably $600 for a band. Some bands cost us quite a bit more. Good bands take a lot of money or more money. We do have some bands that play for as little as $400 and others that we pay $1,200 for. It'd make it tough. Thanks.
I have a question. Do you have a letter or any documentation that you can give to us?
You should already have it from December 11th.
Would you be able to give it to us later? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Keokuk Historic Preservation. I see we have representatives. Can you come forward?
I think I overprepared and I'm really sorry.
No such thing.
I didn't know what it was gonna be.
I'm glad you did. I was given this packet about 5:15 that has like you guys is in it and all that, and it didn't get to you guys' package. I'll have to copy it and give it to you.
Anybody that wants a copy or email, I can send it out to whomever.
No such thing as over preparing.
Oh, okay. Let's put that to the
Well, she's handing these out, Kathy, Madam Mayor. While she's handing this out, can you tell us what she requested last year and what they received last year?
Okay,
That's why you don't
hi.
have it.
Oh, sorry, I'll take this folder. My name is Erica Barrett, and I am the current chair of the Historic Preservation Commission, but I have a couple members of the board here with me tonight. This packet is extensive, and it's been put together by multiple members of the board. So in 2023, the Historic Preservation Commission asked for $25,000. They received $5,000. In 2024, they asked for $5,000. They received $4,500. This year, we're asking for $25,000, which we realize is a lot more, and I know that the money is tight, but what I want to share with you tonight is that we've worked hard. We're a relatively new-ish board, but we're a responsible organization, and we will use the money in a way that will multiply the value and enrich our community. So it will instill community pride. It will collaborate with other organizations. It'll really spend that money in a way that will get people actively engaged. So last year, this is what we accomplished. We became a certified, not quite, but we put in an application to become a certified local government, which if you don't know what that is, which I didn't before, it's a designation given by the National Park Service. And there's about 10% of the budget in Iowa that is designated specifically to certified local governments that other cities cannot have access to. You have to be a certified local government. And so we have sent in that application. It's still pending. But once we get that, we can have access to specific funds for preservation, for historic tax grants, incentives, things like that. And so it's a way to show that we are responsible with historic preservation. And the only way to get that is by having a historic preservation commission that is supported by the city. And so we're grateful for the support that we've received this year to make that happen. We attended the Preservation Summit. It's a state training that's required for all historic preservation commissions. We applied for an impact grant, which we did not receive, but we were applying for it. We applied for a Planning for Preservation grant, which is a $22,433 grant, which we're still waiting back on, but it's not competitive. So we're guaranteed to get it as soon as we receive that certified local government designation. We applied for a Lee County Services grant, which we did not receive, but we're hopeful that we can try again. We held a Oakland Cemetery walking tour and raised about $600. And we had over 100 attendees. It was very well attended. Some of you were volunteers for that. We had a Legends and Lore tour, which we ran with the History Center and Tourism. We raised about $1,300 for that. The Oakland Cemetery Initiative merged with the Historic Preservation Commission. So last year you gave $1,000 to the Oakland Cemetery Initiative. And so that amount that we're asking for is taking that merger in mind. And then we just applied for a Golden Oak Society grant with Main Street Keokuk to establish an internship for high school kids. There's a new class at Keokuk High School called History of Keokuk. And so we want to get kids excited about history here. I mean, we are just rich with history. And so if we can get kids excited, helping us with Main Street historic inventory, and we can get that paid, they're going to be informed about education. They're going to learn how to do inventories, processing, working with community members and organizations. And that will also help us achieve our goals and Main Street goals of historic inventory. So then we have some more information that what we raised last year. We have plans for this coming year, which I have in this document, this first one. And then how we would use the money. So I can go through what we're planning on using. Just really what we're doing this year is we're still working on hearing back from our certified local government grant and the Planning for Preservation grant. As soon as the National Park Service okays it, we're good to go. And the very last part of the packet that you have, it's like stapled, this right here. This is just all the information of the certified local government. So it's like the first part is the contract. The second part is the checklist that Allison Archambault, who's in charge of the CLG for Iowa, it's her checklist recommending us to receive the designation. Then it's an email that was CC'd to Mayor Kathy Mahoney and myself about her recommendation. A couple emails of me following up, finding out what's going on with the status. And then one was from Monday, just saying that we're still waiting, but we're certain to get it. So, which is just, we're really excited for that. Kathy knows that we've been working on that for a long time. So, no, no. And she's like, it's never taken this long before. I mean, we submitted it in May 3rd, I think. So, and just so you know what the other things are in the packet, I have a 2024 budget breakdown, which talks about the money that we used, how we used it. It looks like we have a decent amount of money, which we do, and we're grateful for, but I want you to know that $9,500 are earmarked for specifically the Bodden House. So we cannot use those funds for anything else. And then we have this matching planning for preservation grant. And so we have also committed $5,333 to that. And so because that is tied up, we are asking for more money so that way we can apply for grants, host more of these events, which have really instilled some community pride and gotten people excited. And then we have just 2 bank statements attached so that you can see that the numbers line up. And then the 2025 budget projection, which is just to show how we would spend that money. I know it's really thorough, but I wanted to give you an overview of what we're doing. I came to you a couple months ago and just said that, I'd love for there to be a rubric or something so we knew how to present. And I just wanted, our Preservation Commission wanted to be accountable with the funds and show you how we would use it and how every penny would be used towards the benefit of the community and growing that money. One of the biggest things that we're excited about this year is the Bodden House. It's on North 3rd. We've had some vandalism from the walls, and it's been a project that it's really important to many members of the community. It's an old house. It was constructed in 1847. Different members have taken parts of that, the whole house actually down. It's currently in the Fairsill building. So our plan right now is to create a heritage garden. Keokuk, Puckashetuk, I think is what it's known formally. It was once half-breed tract, which is a place where half indigenous people and half people with European ancestry came, and there wasn't really a place for them to go because they weren't wanted by either of their parentage, and this was the place that was designated for them. And how do you honor a culture that's been forgotten and basically has disappeared? And we want to create a spot for them. And so we're going to take the Bodden House, we're going to erect a pavilion that looks like a facade of the building to preserve it. And we're going to have that as a picnic area, and then we're going to create a heritage garden. So it'll be native plants. It'll have some of the plants with like the indigenous names. It'll talk about the uses of these plants and how they were used. We hope it will become an outpost for Lee County Conservation, for field trips, for people who are coming to Eagle Days, for indigenous groups to come, and to hopefully even make it like a national landmark to apply for that so we can get that designation and just have something for indigenous people because we don't really have anything for them. So that's our biggest project this year. The last one is this year marks the 60th anniversary of the Armory explosion. And I was looking, and we have the names of the victims listed, but they're all, like the women's names are listed as Mrs. Husband's name. And so we'd like to get a plaque that has the full names of every victim and have that established. And so we can do that as we talk with the National Guard. We want to get some grants, but we also want to talk to the city and maybe see if you guys would be willing to help us with that, to just get a bronze plaque on the other side of the current plaque that's there. To answer your question, Mike, what would we do? We are applying for multiple grants. We're currently applying for the T-Mobile $50,000 grant that GRP received. We texted or asked T-Mobile, and they said that we could still apply for it. We're planning to apply for a lot more grants. I have that in our work plan, our 2025 work plan. So you can see what grants we're going to apply for. 2024 shows our work plan, so you can kind of see what we said we would do versus what we actually did. This is overwhelming, I'm sure, and I know I'm talking like a fire hose, but hopefully you get the idea of our vision. We're really excited, and I hope that we can spread that excitement like a virus to the rest of the community. I don't know if there's any other questions, but I'd be happy to take them. And again, I'd be happy to share this with whoever is listening or whoever's watching. You can just reach out to me.
Any questions, guys? Thank you, Erica.
Thank you.
Good job. Do we have anybody here from Lake Cooper Foundation? Okay, so that is our hotel motel request tonight. And we're going to move along to item number 3, which is our third ward candidate interviews. And if the two gentlemen that are applying would like to come up and take a seat on each side here, and we will begin the process, and we will ask some questions. And yeah, and we will take turns. One can go first once, and the next one can go first the second time, and see what we can do. When it's your turn, please come to the podium and speak into the microphone. And for the beginning here, when you come for the first question, please state your name and your address too. So who wants to go first? Either one of you? You
Madam
care?
Mayor, are we going to get a second page? We've only got one scoring sheet. I've only got one, and
Could we have one for each person? Okay.
You guys only got one, right?
Yes.
Here's one.
Here's an extra one.
Here's one. So you guys each got 2, right?
I got 2 now.
Okay, hang on, guys. I was hoping we'd be done. Ready to go. I have trouble with that.
Very good. You know, all those years of appearing before boards, of being in the hot seat, I didn't think I had to do this again. The nerves are always there. I'm actually glad I'm up here, standing here, because I'm starting to calm down a little bit.
Go first, so.
Am I allowed to have this to keep me on track?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Okay, so your name and address, and we'll ask you the first question.
Okay, so my name is Madam Mayor, members of the board, council, I should say. My name is Jeff Mullen. I'm a third ward resident. I currently live at 1202 Grand Avenue, which you probably know as the money pit. Plaster and stucco are 2 building things I do not like. So.
You can microphone.
Can you hear
There
me
you go.
now?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm surprised because I got a big mouth. I've been in the military for a long time and my wife says I'm loud, so. First question?
Yeah, go ahead.
What inspired you to apply for a seat in the city council, and what unique skills or experiences do you bring to the role?
So did everybody get a chance to read my letter to the mayor and council? Okay, so you know my background. I was a policeman here for many years. And in my last 16 years here in the city, I've had many an opportunity to respond to things that concerned the city. And I have had a chance to speak with different sections within the city, Public Works, Parks Department, Code Enforcement, and the list goes on and on. And not being one to just do my job and leave, I am very inquisitive. I ask people things. The previous Public Works Director, Robert Hellenthal, I've learned so much from him, just from, why things work, how they work. And it sparked an interest in me in city government. I don't have a lot of experience in city government, as I should say, but I'm very interested in it. And since I live here in this city, I want to participate in its growth, hopefully. And as far as unique skills, so I've been in every leadership role in the military with the exception of Sergeant Major. I've been all the way from patrolman to chief of police. I've worked in different departments. I've been all over the world working with different cultures, people, all different types of groups. And it tends to hopefully give me a little edge in being able to approach a concern and give some valuable input.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Do you want me to repeat the question for you? Or do you remember it?
I'm sorry?
Do you want me to repeat the question?
Yeah.
Oh, could we do like his introduction first?
Yes.
What is it that you want, Clarissa?
The introduction part that Jeff did, with his name and the address.
We have that, and he did that with his question, so he's going to ask it.
What inspired you to apply for a seat on the council? And what unique skills or experiences do you bring to the role?
My name is
After
Kyle.
just one second, after the first question, the following questions, we'll have about 2 minutes to answer each question, all right?
My name is Kyle Myers. I go by Kip. That's what I grew up with. That's what most of the people that I know between Steve and Dorothy, and that's my nickname was given to me by my grandpa. I don't know why, but that's what I got stuck with. What inspired me was I've always had an interest in the city of Keokuk, going back to before I even knew we were coming here. My mom and dad moved here back in 1962. My dad got transferred when they opened up the Wilkins Pipe and Supply branch. My wife and I both grew up in school here. This has always been home. I moved away for 12 years, lived in Peoria, Illinois, got tired of the big city hustle and bustle, and decided to move back here. I saw what Keokuk was back in the 60s. Every storefront in this town was full. Everybody had good, well-paying jobs. We've lost a lot of that. I think being part of the city council, I'd like to be involved in bringing Keokuk back to that glory. As far as skills go, I spent 44 years as an industrial salesman, working with all the industries around Keokuk, the plumbers, the pipe fitters, and I've had every experience you can imagine, from people wanting to come down to our office and beat the daylights out of me because they didn't like what I told them, even though it was the truth. So I know how to deal with conflict. And I just think Keokuk can be a great place again. Thank you.
All right, next question. Have you served in any leadership roles or community initiatives that demonstrate your ability to represent diverse interests and make difficult decisions?
Sure. Was a sergeant and captain of police here in the community. Let's just keep it here. And that brings itself in itself the nature of the job, having to deal with literally everything and things that you couldn't even imagine, and having to represent and hold the public interest in mind. I was told early on as I got promoted that never ever put the city of Keokuk in a liability situation. So that's always been on my mind because no one wants that. Currently within the recent past, we had the BLM movement was here. And I can't even remember. There's just so many. And we've always seemed to come out on top. And I will say this, the people I've worked with, dealing with people that come from outside the city, have always said to us, and I hate to say this, but most of my entire life was law enforcement, but the way we've handled it, the situation here, has really put a positive impression upon those outside our city. And so I think that Keokuk in itself has been represented well. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
Have you served in any leadership roles or community initiatives that demonstrate your ability to represent diverse interests and make difficult decisions?
Well, I started out when my son was younger. We lived outside of Keokuk, and I started because of the memories that I had of going to school here in Keokuk. I actually started the PTA organization at Central Lee, and trying to get that program off the ground was a major undertaking for me. We got 3 different communities back then to work towards one goal, and that was making Central Lee a better school for the kids that were going there. I've also been a chairman of the board of trustees at our church. I go to Bel Air Baptist Church, and making the decisions on how our church funds projects. We just went through buying 2 new air conditioning units for that building. When you try and scrape together a little church like ours of about 40 members to get enough money to put 2 12-ton air conditioning units, that can be a chore. And then I was also a past chairman of the Historic Preservation Commission, and trying to go around within the city of Keokuk and put together funds to get some of the projects that Erica was talking about tonight off the ground was a major undertaking.
Excuse me. I think in fairness, we need to alternate questions. That way, one person doesn't have a little more time to think about their answer. So we ought to alternate and then, let Kyle be answer first this next time or so and go back and forth that way, just to be fair.
Sure.
Okay. Just trying to confuse me. What are the top 3 issues you believe the city of Keokuk is facing, and how would you address them as a council member?
top three issues is roads, the hospital, and buildings. I am only a observer. I am not well read into what is going on or undergoing right now by the city. So how I would address these issues is not thoroughly informed on them. I would hope that the city has a plan for the roads, a priority. Thank God 18th Street has been fixed or being fixed. That was horrible. You know, our city fleet is taking a beating, and those three guys in the city barn are heroic. The things that they do to fix everything from garbage trucks to police cars to fire trucks, everything, just unbelievable. And do you go with asphalt or do you go with concrete? I mean, 13th Street is wonderful now, South 13th Street. You can glide right up it, you know. But now 18th Street is concrete. Does concrete last longer? What is, you know, I'm financially, I'm not knowing in that, but I want to learn it and I want to contribute to that. The hospital, we're at, you know, a safety risk here because we're 20, 25 minutes from the nearest hospital, depending on traffic. You know, we've had some issues with Fort Madison, bringing suspects up there to get whatever, you know, looked at because, you know, they like to stall because it's probably 4 hours they don't have to spend in jail because it takes time. You know, having a hospital here, everybody complained about our hospital. They complained about it so much, now we don't have it. And I worked with the ER staff and we had a great rapport with those people and they did great work. Can they save everybody? No, you know. And lastly, housing. So we have these, you know, new housings going up and everything, but I noticed that there are a lot of state housing that are empty. They're vacant. And the housing that we have, specifically KPA, Park Apartments, Hawkeye Village, they are in bad shape, in my opinion. I could talk to you a lot about houses here and even just privately owned houses. You really should go out with code enforcement or the police department and see how people live here. It is deplorable. Anyway, that's you want me to answer the next question then? Sorry. Or do you want me
No,
to?
let him go next, then,
Yeah, we're gonna answer another question.
He's gonna answer?
Okay.
then he can stay up since he hasn't gone first yet.
All right, your question would be, how do you envision balancing the need for economic growth with maintaining the city's character and addressing residents' concerns?
This was one of the tough ones for me. I believe that with the history that we have here in Keokuk, we don't want to forego that. We don't want to bypass it. We want that to be a major attraction for people to come to Keokuk because of the history. But we also need to look at the industries that we've lost in Keokuk, and we need to find new ways to promote the city of Keokuk to bring industry back to Keokuk. We lost ADM. We lost Midwest Carbide several years ago. We have those open areas that we can, if we can find new industry, we've got places for them to move into. I know the property where Midwest Carbide used to sit needs some work and needs recouped, but it can, you know, it could be a viable site for a company to come in and start a new industry. And with that, you've got jobs for the young people coming out of school that they can stay in Keokuk and keep the money that they're going to earn coming back into Keokuk and not see it dwindle, see it grow again.
Thank you. Well, I'm guessing that the goal is to ask everyone the same questions, but not at the same time. So he would have the chance to answer those questions. Yes. All right, so your question is, describe a time when you successfully engaged with the community to address a concern or resolve a conflict. What was your approach and what was the outcome?
Okay, so this. 6.
Question number 6. I'll repeat the question.
I got it.
You good? Okay.
I have my own sheet here, so. Okay, this isn't an experience from here in Keokuk, but at one time I was out at the Ronald Reagan Ballistic Missile Test Site, Kwajalein Atoll, which is dead center of the South Pacific, where they tested ballistic missiles. I was on the police department there. I was deputy chief of police. And on that community, there are no vehicles on that island except for police cars, fire trucks, and maintenance vehicles. Everybody rides a bike. The island was 2.5 miles long by a 1/2 mile wide. And so bicycles were the issue. And the base commander, even though it was populated by 98% civilians, the base commander was an Army colonel. And she said, I need something, I need education. So I got the mission and I put together a bike rodeo. And we invited the community out and we taught bicycle safety. We had a bicycle inspection station. We had giveaways, we had obstacle courses, and it was more focused towards young people. How to stop, look both ways, stop signs, how to negotiate, how not to ride into traffic, things like that. And it was very successful, and it continued out, and it still continued to this day because I'm in contact out there. But yeah, it was a really good thing. Is that good?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, question number 7. What is your approach to making decisions on controversial issues where public opinion is deeply divided?
Well, I think first of all, you have to listen to both sides. You have to be willing to listen to both sides. I think you have to weigh both sides and be thoughtful about how your decision is going to affect everyone in the community, not just your constituents, but the whole city. Whether it's good or bad, you need to form a decision and make it the better good for the whole community. And you have to be thoughtful about the people in your ward and what it's going to do to them or for them, and then stand beside your decision, stand with your decision so it helps everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so you will go to question number 4. How do you envision balancing the need for economic growth with maintaining the city's character and addressing residents' concerns?
Okay, so economic growth is important. I know we have an issue here in the community. I was listening to these 2 people here that presented earlier, and I'm glad there is a plan in place, which is all great. I know that we're also in a financial crisis. I think we were at one time 1.5 million in the hole. But economic growth is paramount if the city is to grow, and as it grows, the city itself being a river town and having Lock and Dam here and some very historical area, it's going to maintain that, but it will die unless you have people coming here, spending money and visiting the community. Addressing the residents' concerns have to be available. I believe my cell phone number will be made public to the 3rd Ward. I have to make sure that I'm honest, integrity. As it was told me a long time ago, all we have is our integrity, and once you lose it, you are no longer effective. People will know you're a liar, and that's very important. And you also have to get back with them and let them know that they are heard. Might not like the answer, but you know. So I think economic growth, and if I could go just a little bit further, it has been a recurring theme to me as I've patrolled the city. And, you know, you got to understand that we have 10,000 people here in the community, but as the day is, since we're in the tri-state area, we're probably up to 30,000 people transiting our city, stopping here, getting approached. I've talked to so many people here, and a recurring theme here is we tried to come here, but we were told no. And I hope that is no longer the fact. This is over, like I said, a 16-year period. If I can go just a little bit. There was a nationally televised fishing tournament here, probably in the early 10s, 10, 11, 12, something in there. And I was patrolling down by the yacht club, and there were so many boats and trailers. It was overflow. We couldn't even handle it. And so I stopped the guy. I said, "Hey, what's going on here?" Because I didn't know. He goes, "Oh, this is nationally televised fishing tournament. Big money. There's so much there." And I'm like, "Oh," I said. He goes, "Yeah, but it's held in Fort Madison. We have so many people that we can't put in there. We have to come up here and then drive downriver." I was like, "Why didn't you come here?" He said, "We were told no." So that is an experience I've had. And I don't know what's going on, and hopefully that isn't the fact anymore, but anyway.
All right. Question number 6. Describe a time when you successfully engaged with the community to address a concern or resolve a conflict. What was your approach and what was the outcome?
During my tenure with the Historic Preservation Commission, we went to the leaders of all the community banks and petitioned them for donations. And I'm not good about asking for money, but it's such a great cause that we sat down with all the bank presidents here in Keokuk and asked them to help us with the Bodden House. And we were able to get, and that was before State Central moved back into town, but we were able to get contributions from every bank in Keokuk. And I'm pretty proud of that. I just think it's a great program. I think Erica's doing a great job with it. And I thought it was very good of all the community banks to be involved in our progress with that.
Thank you. All right, question number 8.
Okay.
How would you prioritize city resources and budget allocation, particularly when faced with competing demands from different sectors?
Okay, so safety is always the first concern in any endeavor. Because if you don't have a safe environment, you have an environment not worth operating in or holding a function in. So safety is always paramount. That's number one. Number two is it lawful and legal? Are we operating within the confines of the law? And how does it benefit the community? You know, because you got, like I said, you got different interest groups, and you know, everybody has a concern, and many people like to have an opinion without being informed. So being informed is always very important. You need to know what you're talking about when you're confronting people. Infrastructure, the city's old, you know, and I know there is efforts abroad underway to make those things happen. You know, I know that for a fact that we're one of the few cities that's actually upgrading their sewers, the sewer separation project. A lot of cities aren't doing it because they can't afford to. So a lot of kudos to us for doing that. And in education, it's important. It's very important. I don't even know where to begin there. I just don't. I know at one time Keokuk was one of the top schools, and now we're failing. So how to address that issue? But you know, you have department heads to confer with. I'm sure that, you know, if I'm appointed, it'll be my goal to meet with all these people and get educated on things so I could talk intelligently to the other council members and the board.
Thank you.
Thank you. Question number 10. What will you do to avoid conflicts of interest and maintain integrity while serving on the council?
Well, I think you have to, there's another case where you have to listen to your constituents in the ward you represent and take that into account. But you also have to look at yourself and be able to look at yourself in the mirror and know that the decisions you make are right for your ward, your city, and in your heart, that you're doing the right thing. And that that's what counts more than anything, is to be honest and reputable about what you do every day.
Thank you. Question number 5. How would you ensure that the voices of all community members, including underrepresented groups, are heard and considered in your decision-making process?
I would make sure that I'm available to the ward. They have my phone number. I don't know if the city provides email or something like that. To make sure that I answer and address all concerns. May not answer them directly, but you know, as long as I'm maintaining a communication and letting people know that I'm looking at it, and I'll get back with you and make sure I follow up on all that. To be transparent, to and to hold integrity is very important. You know, I'm not a person that would give a half-baked answer just to satisfy somebody for the moment. Sometimes it takes time. I've learned in the military, you could almost answer right away, almost every time. But out here, it's a whole different ball game. You know, people are more. It takes time to. Not everybody runs on the same pace, I should say, and I've learned that. So.
All right, Kit, question number 8 for you. How would you prioritize city resources and budget allocation, particularly when faced with competing demands from different sectors?
Well, I think you have to know before you answer something, you need to know what's available. You need to know the costs of whatever project you're involved in. And you need to know what this city can afford and not get drawn into something that's going to cost the people of this city more tax money, more efforts. Are you going to have to put more feet on the street to get a project done? You need to be reasonable, just like we do at home with our budgets at home. You need to treat this city the same way you take care of your own home. Make sure you can afford it before you spend it.
Thank you. All right, we'll go to question number 9 for you. How do you plan to remain transparent and accountable to the public throughout your term on the council?
Pretty much what I said in the previous question, just making sure I'm available, I'm answering questions, I'm addressing the concerns, getting back with people, maintaining my integrity, and maybe getting out and meeting people face to face. I think that's very important. I'm not a person that likes to talk on the phone. Emails are, you can read them proactively, or you can read them like, oh, this guy's yelling at me, you know. But face to face, it's personal. And I think, you know, I knew Rosalind, and God, she's got that's some serious shoes to fill. She was a smart cookie. But I think getting out and meeting the people while the president's campaign, so you can see them, you know. So I think that's what I would do.
Thank you. Kit number 3, what are the top 3 issues you believe the city of Keokuk is facing, and how would you address them as a council member?
Sorry, it's so loud, I can't.
I know, I'm hearing my own voice. What are the top 3 issues you believe the city of Keokuk is facing, and how would you address them as a council member?
The 3 top issues, I think, in our community are good paying jobs. We've lost so much industry in Keokuk over the years that so many of the young people in this town, when they go away to school, they never come back. We need to find programs and industries and jobs that will keep the kids coming back to Keokuk. I have 2 nephews that grew up right across the river that are gone because there weren't good paying jobs available. There are a lot of good paying jobs here, but there's not that many that are available. I think, as Jeff said, I think one of the big issues in Keokuk is housing. If you drive around Keokuk, there aren't a lot of average nice homes in Keokuk anymore. So many of them, there again, because of the lack of good paying jobs in Keokuk, the houses have gone by the wayside. The third thing, I think, if you travel around Keokuk very much, are the streets in Keokuk. We need to find programs to be able to, when I come to Keokuk, I come down 4th Street almost every day, and it beats my poor truck to death. And we've got too many streets in Keokuk that are like that. And I think that's the 3 that I consider.
Thank you. All right, we'll just have 2 more questions to go. Is it 1? All right, so for you, I have, what will you do to avoid conflicts of interest and maintain integrity while serving on the council? Number 10.
10. Well, again, making sure I'm above reproach. Now, does everybody here know Michael Moore? Okay, Michael Moore was a council member many years back. And he's a hairy guy. He's got long hair. He's got a real bushy beard. And I stopped him one night for a traffic infraction. I wrote him a ticket. I didn't know he was a council member. He never mentioned it, you know? And at that time, Deputy Chief Dave Hinton, he always looked at the tickets the next morning. He goes, "Oh, I see you wrote a councilman." I was like, "No, I didn't." He goes, "Yeah, you did. Michael Moore." I was like, "He's a councilman?" He goes, "Yeah." I was like, "Never mentioned it." Made an impression on me. Didn't use his office for any, gain, personal gain. I thought that was a good thing, and good friends with him nowadays. He's just a hell of a nice guy. So that's, avoiding conflicts of interest. So, that's, don't get involved in something where the public could look at you trying to get over. So many people go to jail for that. So many people are investigated for that, and then you're on Facebook, and we don't need that. In other words, keep the city out of that term I used, liability. I just realized your wife does my teeth. I always make sure I put a couple mints in. I don't want to melt her face off. So that's it. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, I think this is your last question, I think. 2, all right. How do you plan to remain transparent and accountable to the public throughout your term on the council? Number 9, question number 9.
Well, I think as far as being transparent, you just have to be available. You have, as a retired citizen of Keokuk, I have lots of time and I don't mind talking to people. I was in sales for 44 years, so I can talk. But I think you have to be available, whether it's over the phone or email or in person. If somebody has a problem and wants to see you, then you have to make yourself available. And I've got time. I can see people, and I'm willing to see people whenever they need it.
All right, number 7. What is your approach to making decisions on controversial issues where public opinion is divided?
Well, the key to making decisions is to be well informed. And sometimes that takes time. I've dealt with this issue in town over the past 16 years again, dealing with all kinds of people. And you wouldn't believe, well, maybe you would. I mean, I don't know what your experiences are, but people come to you with things. And a lot of people are hot-headed. They're motivated by politics or culture, could be family squabbles, and they go off half-baked, and they give you not even good information. So being a person that knows the issue or researches the issue to a satisfactory conclusion and being able to talk about it directly to this person, whether they like the answer or not, if it holds the city's interests overall, and it doesn't put us in a bad position, and they feel like they've had a voice, And that's what I would do.
Thank you. All right, Kit, I think this is your last question, number 5. Did I get you already on this one? I did. This is the last question, right? How would you ensure that the voices of all community members, including underrepresented groups, are heard and considered in your decision-making process?
I think that goes back to being available. Just sit down and talk, find out what's going on, what the problems are, and make an effort to find a way to resolve those problems. I don't think without being face to face with people and knowing what their concerns are, you're never going to find an answer. You've got to know the problem to help find a way to fix it. And that's the way I would want to resolve things, by being in front of people, being available.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Does anybody have any question that they would like to ask that we didn't cover? I know it's getting late and you guys are probably tired but well informed tonight. So what will happen is when everybody's done scoring these, they will turn them into me. They'll go in a folder in a locked cabinet in my room. And tomorrow morning, myself and the city clerk, now she did go home sick today, so if the city clerk is not here tomorrow, the deputy city clerk will be here and we will score and let you guys know what the scores were and who got the highest. Okay? We'll let you know tomorrow. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. I know, it's so loud, it's so loud. Yeah.
It's who are you?
Thank you. Thank you, good job.
Thanks, Kip. Take care. Yeah, it is.
Very tough choice. I'm glad I don't get to vote.
Huh?
I'm glad I don't get to vote on this one.
Good luck, Jeff. All right.
Yeah. You just put them right here in a pile and I'll take care of it. Right there in a pile, face down, and I will take care of it. Face down and I will take care of it. That's the problem. Does anybody want to quit? You got to live in Ward 3. You can't.
That's a good thing to have. She's. Which one is your wife's?
Okay.
Is that the one on the main street?
Hope you put your names on the top of them. Hope you put their names on the top of them, so I know who's who. You put, yes, so I know who's who. I might get a whole bunch of votes.
Okay.
And then there's another dentist office that is just on the other side of her parking.
Okay, that's not, all right, that's what I've been seeing. Yeah, that's the main one to me, all right.
We got it all over in one night.
Oh, gosh.